GESARA, Nesara, which is this sometimes called GCR, Global Currency Reset, sometimes called RV, revaluation.
The currency devaluations, I've been complaining about that for a long time. And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field. Because that's the only way it's fair. That's the only way that you can fairly compete in trade and other things.
This process adjusts the value of currencies around the world to what they should be. It is a recalibration of sorts that will bring everything back into balance. The primary motivation is to revalue currencies, especially those that are undervalued. If you hold a currency that is slated for revaluation, its value might increase, which means for certain currencies, like Iraqi dinar, they will likely be worth far more than you have paid for it before now. The most frequently discussed and held currencies by individuals anticipating the RV include the Iraqi dinar, Vietnamese dong, Indonesian rupiah, Venezuelan bolivar, and Zimbabwe Zim notes, which are not to be confused with Zim currency and agro checks. As for where to go and when to exchange your currencies, I'll get to that in just a second. First, you must be wondering where all of this is coming from, or where all of this began. Why is it that countries that are in America's crosshairs so often experience hyperinflation? The New York Times reveals the real working methods of the CIA. In 1992, the newspaper published an article with the headline, "Fake Money Flood is Aimed at Crippling Iraq's Economy." Iraq's economy is the target of an American-led destabilization campaign to pour vast amounts of counterfeit currency into the country, Arab and Western officials here say. The CIA also supplied the Mujahideen with at least $2 billion in counterfeit Afghan money for transport and bribery during Operation Cyclone, the CIA support program for the religious guerrilla forces against Soviet and Afghan government troops in the 1980s. France used counterfeiting with great success to bring her recently independent colony Guinea to heel. In 1958, the country wanted to print its own money, but France flooded it with high-quality counterfeit bills, making the local currency collapse. Zimbabwe experienced hyperinflation in the 2000s. It was accompanied by a large PSYOP campaign in the world press, with endless racists gloating over African mismanagement. Of course, this reporting was hiding and spinning the effects of the sanctions and the interference. A massive pile of fake North Korean money weighed about 330 pounds and was found in a heap of waste paper in southwestern Seoul. The counterfeit bills were printed in 5,000 North Korean won denominations. Yugoslavia experienced two spikes in hyperinflation, 1993 and 1999. Yugoslav authorities were aware of the possibility of counterfeit money being smuggled into the country. An article in the Washington Post before the Kosovo War claimed, Yugoslav government officials quietly and seriously discuss what the CIA might be up to further the Clinton administration's goal of getting Milosevic removed from power. In the 1980s, at the same time as the U.S. printed counterfeit money for the Mujahideen in Afghanistan, Nicaragua experienced hyperinflation from June 1986 to March 1991. The United States declared Venezuela a national security threat in March 2015 and has imposed steadily stricter sanctions. The economy is in such a weak position that counterfeit money would strongly exacerbate existing problems. The country even prints its bills abroad, which gives Western intelligence services access to the printing plates. Counterfeit bolivares would be indistinguishable from the real thing.
Goodwin has also claimed that Ascended Master Saint Germain has come down
Saint Germain
from the etheric plane to physically meet with the heads of banks and world leaders regarding the Nesara announcement.
All right, so you got to get to the end of Wikipedia to find out what it really is. Because, yeah, you can't have any conversation about Nesara without starting with Saint Germain, because he's the one who started it all.
Saint Germain, also known as the Count of Saint Germain, is a figure shrouded in mystery, with historical records suggesting he was born around 1710, though his exact origins remain unclear. His talents were remarkable. He was a musical composer, a capable violinist, and possessed comprehensive knowledge of history and considerable chemistry skills. He spoke nearly all European languages, which facilitated his interactions with high society. Saint Germain was also believed to be a figure of immense mystical power, aligning with esoteric traditions like theosophy. Stories claim he materialized a new body after physical ascension as the Count du Saint Jau, with the name Count of Saint Germain derived from Latin Sanus Germanus, meaning holy brother. He was known as the Wonder Man of Europe, amazing nobility with elaborate diamond-studded shoes worth $40,000 in pearls, and had abilities like turning rocks into diamonds, removing flaws, writing 2 poems simultaneously with both hands, and reading books by waving his hand over them. He was believed to speak every language, traveled by thought, and worked for peace, with talents as an accomplished pianist, singer, and violinist, said to surpass great virtuosos. He taught Franz Mesmer personal magnetism and hypnosis, initiated Cagliostro into the Masonic order, and was rumored to have an elixir of life, maintaining youth, as seen in his 1710 appearance in Venice at age 40, and later meetings in 1760, where he claimed to be over 100, which he said was not impossible.
Another thing important to mention about GESARA in relation to Saint Germain is that supposedly, according to that one Golden Age video, around the early 1700s, around 1730s to 50s, he created something called the World Trust. And that this trust, with all this wealth that he accumulated both through his business and through his alchemical abilities, was put into this huge trust, this huge amount of money that just got inflation over time. And so that was one of the earliest names of this sort of like money pool that became what is this money on reserve called GESARA now.
Some Nesara supporters also make the claim that otherworldly beings are working to get Nesara announced. This includes a quote-unquote channeled cosmic being called Haton.
Oh, wait, Haton's mentioned on Wikipedia?
Yes. Another named Sananda. According to some ancient master teaching proponents, such as Joshua David Stone, Sheldon Neidl, and Luis Prada, Sananda is the galactic name of ascended Master Jesus. Which he uses in his role as Commander-in-Chief of the Ashtar Command Flying Saucer Fleet.
Well, that's disclosure right there on Wikipedia.
Even the property taxes, income taxes, debt forgiveness, all of that shit is happening right now. All of it. All of it.
Awesome. There
is some accounts and some debt already wiped out. Go check on your debt. Go check on your credit score. Everything changed already. And if it hasn't happened for you, just wait. Just wait, because it is. I'm telling y'all. They can see the screens pinging. They can see the currency pinging. The reason why they still haven't went or allowed the actual thing to process or even admit to it is because of the Forex. So once you see it on Forex, then boom, there's no way they can say we're not doing it, because it's right fucking there.
And you said that should happen today sometime.
It should have already happened. Everybody go look. Go look. Post it. Send that shit.
And, I have gotten prophetic words about the joy that's coming, the blessing that's coming. It's because the kingdom is coming to earth and it's being accelerated. The veils are being lifted. We're going to be able to see things in the spirit like we've never saw before. We're going to be given spiritual responsibilities that we've never had before. We're going to be giving finances that we've been prepared to use for the kingdom and to use righteously.
In this world system, it's been held in reservoirs of wicked men for days on end. But the end is nigh, and those reservoirs shall be tapped and shall be drained into the gospel of Jesus Christ. You will see things you've never dreamed come to pass.
The thing is, this transference of wealth. Well, this last week, Pastor Robin Bullock out of Warrior, Alabama said in January of 2025, God said to her, the transference of wealth is happening now.
And that's what's getting ready to happen. We are about to witness the collapse of the dollar, the collapse of the banks, the collapse of the hedge funds, the collapse of anybody that took part in market manipulation and crimes against humanity.